Hey everybody, welcome back. It's another episode of Jake Talks Star Wars, and today I want to talk about looking forward to 2026. It is still early in 2026. I'm recording this on January 10th. I'll probably release it later this week or later early next week. But talking about what to look forward to this year in Star Wars, and looks like we have a lot to look forward to. At least three major things to look forward to this year that I am very excited about personally. First thing I'll mention, of course, is the elephant in the room, is Mandalorian and Grogu. Star Wars is returning to theaters for the first time in several years. Last time we saw Star Wars was in 2019 with The Rise of Skywalker. So here it is, 2026. So it's been 2019, 2020, 21, 22. So been I think 6 years, six or seven-ish years since we saw Star Wars in theaters, and it's time, right? It's time to see Star Wars in theaters. We've had a lot of Star Wars since The Rise of Skywalker. We've had Mandalorian, we've had Ahsoka, we've had Boba Fett, we've had Acolyte, we've had Andor seasons 1 and 2, we've had Skeleton Crew, we've had animated shows like The Bad Batch. So we've had a lot of good Star Wars since then, but we haven't had any Star Wars in theaters. And it is important that Star Wars is in theaters because that's where it belongs. And I can't wait to take my kids to the theater to see new Star Wars. I took my oldest to see the re-releases of The Phantom Menace and the re-release of Revenge of the Sith, but it is not the same, right? Because I know what to expect, and so does she, because she's already seen it at home with me. So going to the theater, seeing something new together is something I cannot wait to do. I am super duper excited for. And I think Mandalorian and Grogu this summer in May as a summer movie, as a popcorn movie, is just perfect. I think it's absolutely perfect because it's going to be fun, and it's going to be fun, I think, is really the main thing. I'm hoping that they didn't take the script for an entire season of television and condense it down into a movie, because as other people have said, other channels have said, Mandalorian is one of the shows that worked really well as a show. There's other shows, Kenobi, that you could tell were drawn out into a series that would have worked better as a movie, right? But Mandalorian was one of those shows that worked really well as a show, as an episodic show. So I'm really hoping they didn't just take a season script and cram it down. I'm hoping they wrote a proper movie script with the proper, kind of the way of doing a movie. Now, I've seen other channels mention this, and I think they're dead on. I think what we might see is kind of like an Indiana Jones style introduction, where the first scene is like the end of the previous adventure, right? Where it's like the end of the previous adventure that kind of introduces us to the characters, and we see that climax of whatever started off screen, and then we jump into our new adventure in this movie, right? So if you remember Indiana Jones, that's kind of how all three of them started, right? You get this end of one adventure that starts the second. And I think Mandalorian and Grogu may follow a similar formula, and I think that would be smart. Because it is episodic, so it would fit into that episodic idea that we're just getting a much longer episode rather than an entire season crammed in. We're getting one long episode. But again, super excited for Mandalorian and Grogu. Can't wait. Gonna take the kids, gonna get the popcorn, do all the stuff, and it's probably gonna be pretty good. I think I can't imagine where that release would be bad for Disney. As far as box office numbers go, and as far as like toy sales and everything else, and products and toy sales and things like that. So it's probably going to be pretty financially successful. I don't think if it's going to hit like Force Awakens levels of financial success, but definitely going to be financially successful as far as that goes, is what I think anyway. The next thing that we have to look forward to this year, and I don't know if this is chronological or not. For all I know, this is going to be different. Maul is going to come out in like a month and a half, for all I know. But the next thing we have to look forward to is Maul, Shadow Lord, which is an animated series about Darth Maul and his time as a leader of a criminal syndicate. It's not a show that I asked for. I think a lot of people were asking for it. It's not a show that I asked for, but I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to shed a lot of light on Maul's character and kind of how he became this like poor old hermit that we saw in Star Wars Rebels, right? Because we saw this glimpse of him in Solo as a, as a crime lord, and that's all we got was that little glimpse of him in Solo as a crime lord. And then in Rebels, we see him as this broken down old hermit who's stranded on Moraband. So how did he get from one to the next? I don't know. Maybe that's what Shadow Lord is going to tell us. The other interesting idea, and this just popped into my head as I started talking, Shadow Lord is potentially gonna, it's gonna happen after the Revenge of the Sith. It probably will happen after the Bad Batch, right? So it'll happen somewhere in that era, probably before, and obviously before Rebels, before Andor, all that kind of stuff. So it's in this zone, and I'm wondering if we're going to have any overlap with the timeline as far as Solo is concerned, and if we're going to have any animated cameos from like a Lando Calrissian or a Han Solo, if we're going to have cameos of those legacy characters, maybe alongside Kira as well. So that's an interesting idea to think of. That just kind of popped into my head. So we'll see what happens with that. But it should be an interesting show. It should be good. Should be fun. Star Wars animation doesn't really miss very much, I don't think. So that should be a lot of fun. And yeah. And that leads me to the last major project we're seeing this year, at least the last major project that I'm aware of that we're seeing this year. And that is Ahsoka Season 2. Season 2 of Ahsoka, as far as I know, is done filming. It's wrapped filming. It is done, and we are going to be able to see Ahsoka Season 2 later this year. I would bet probably September. Maybe they hold it for the holiday season. I don't know, but I would bet, because last time Ahsoka was released in like August, September, so they might be shooting for another August, September. So maybe they'll give us Maul in the spring, Mandalorian in May, Mandalorian and Grogu in May, and then Ahsoka in September, November era, or August, September, or September to October, that era, or push it back to the holiday season. I don't know, but I think we're going to get the year kind of bisected into three pieces, dominated by Mando and Grogu, dominated by Maul Shadow Lord, Ahsoka. Ahsoka Season 2 I think is going to be really great. I'm really excited to see where the story from Season 1 goes. I'm excited to see how it ties into the rest of the Mandoverse, continually ties in, because there is still that promise that, or the suggestions and the promises that Dave Filoni is working towards a live-action Star Wars film that will tie together all the stories of Mando and Ahsoka and Boba Fett and maybe even Skeleton Crew, and kind of tie these stories together in the Mandoverse, kind of with this Heir to the Empire-esque showdown with Grand Admiral Thrawn. I think that's where we're headed. So I think Ahsoka will move us closer to that showdown, and that's something I'm very much excited for. I'm excited to see where the story goes. I'm excited to see the weird Force-related stuff. I want to know what Ahsoka's going to do, what's going to happen to Ahsoka, where her story is going to go. I want to know if Luke fits into this at any point in any way. So again, I'm excited to know if Ezra ever meets Luke, right? Because Ezra's back in the main galaxy. So I'm excited to see if Ezra ever meets and interacts with Luke. So yeah, very exciting. A lot of great stuff. But I think these three projects, and I think the trend for these three projects kind of tells us what we can expect going forward, right? Because what we have is a live-action show. We have a live-action show, an animated show, and a movie. And I think that's what we're going to expect going forward, right? Because before this, it was just so much content all the time. And it was all exclusive to Disney Plus. And I don't think we're going to get that anymore. And I don't think we're going to get more than one movie a year. I don't think we're going to get more than one live action show a year. We might get more than one animated project a year, because the Star Wars animation side is different from the Visions side of things. I think we are getting another Visions series this year as well. But yeah, super exciting. And again, I think this is kind of the trend that 2027, 2028 might take, of one movie, one show, one animated show, one season of an animated show, or one new animated show. I think that's the trend we're going to have for the next few years. And it's not necessarily a bad one. I think it's what we're going to see, though. So very exciting. Lots of great stuff to look forward to in 2026. I am still marching towards attempting to attend Celebration next year in 2027. Los Angeles, 50th anniversary of Star Wars Celebration. I want to be there. So I am super excited for that. I'm going to start working more in depth on that and getting some tips and tricks for that. And yeah, but that's all I have to say today, guys, for my look forward on 2026. So I'm very excited for that. Super excited to see where things go, how things are going. But yeah, I'm going to sign off for now. Let me know in the comments what you think. What are you excited for? Are you excited for Mando and Grogu? Are you excited for Ahsoka? Are you excited for Maul Shadow Lord? Are you not excited for any of it? If so, why are you watching, right? Why are you watching me gush about it if you're not excited about it? But that's okay too, right? You like what you like. That's no big deal. But check it out. Let me know what you think in the comments below. What are you most excited to see this upcoming year? And as usual, guys, take care of each other out there, and may the Force be with you. Bye-bye.